Nobody reads short stories.
Hey everyone, I am Jeremy.
And I'm Megan.
Ooh, and I am lightheaded. Megan, we're doing Nobody Reads Short Stories today, aren't we?
That's right. So if you want to check out all of our full episodes where we read stories and talk to our authors, please go to our website, nobodyreadshortstories.com. Tonight, Jeremy and I are doing Cranky Talk, which is a short episode where we just talk about books that we're reading. So are you ready to crank cranky?
Yes!
All right, 7 minutes. Here we go. Jeremy, do you want to go first?
Sure. So I am reading this book.
Oh, go ahead, Jeremy, do it.
So it's Colson Whitehead, The Nickel Boys. It's a buddy read. And
what does that mean, buddy read?
Buddy read. So me and a buddy decided to read the book. I didn't know much about it. I think I had it recommended by one of my newsletter people to read this book. So I went on Goodreads and I put it on my list or whatever. And then my friend wanted to read a book with me. So we just looked at the lists or whatever, and this came up. And I decided for myself that it might be fun not to read the back of the book and just go into it. Oh. And boy, is there a lot happening in this book. Man, yep. Oh man.
What's it about?
So it takes place in the 1960s, and it's madness. So it's about this juvenile reformatory, and there's this amazingly brilliant boy named Elwood who is about to go to college. He's way young, but he is a African-American who is brilliant. He's going to college, like taking school classes way above his head. He gets a ride with someone he doesn't know, like hitchhikes, and then finds out that the guy doesn't own the car. So then he gets stuck in a system because of the color of his skin. And it's so infuriating. It reminds me a lot of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, where when you're trapped in a system like that, he now can't get out, even though he's innocent of all charges because they see him a specific way. And it's based off of a real situation that happened. Like, it's not based, it's inspired by a real situation that happened. And I don't want to say too much, except that I feel like it's actually worse than One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. It's a horror story. It's definitely a horror story. It's psychologically horrific. And some of the things that happen in this book are more horrific because the characters are used to it. So it's brought up in like this nonchalant way. I don't know if that's a word, but like with nonchalance. It's really good so far. And it really makes you think about racism.
Oh, very cool. That's really interesting. Like the whole talking about these horrific ideas in a very like kind of nonchalant way. I mean, that makes me think of Elie Wiesel's Night, where he talks about the atrocities of the Holocaust in such a like a blunt, matter-of-fact way that it's terrifying. And we get desensitized to these atrocities when we hear about them all the time. And this sounds like a story of an event that is unfortunately way too common present day and in the 1960s as well. So, wow, that sounds really great. I look forward to hearing what you think at the end of it.
Yeah, I'm actually excited to finish this book and read about the actual situation that happened and see how it compares. Megan, what about your book?
Oh, I am so excited about the book.
I see it. You're just like, ooh, excited.
I was so excited. I read this book of short stories called The Office of Historical Corrections by Danielle Evans. She's this just wonderful short story writer. She's like she writes the kind of short stories that I just like get all like, ooey and gooey for. They're short. They're plot driven. They are full of like these kind of characters who are being very real to their personalities, and they get in all kinds of like hijinks that are sad and funny and but very real to life. And I just sped through these short stories. They're so great. Danielle's writing style is very it's very plot driven. Some short stories can be like spread out and be very beautiful and sort of flowery language about a certain moment that happened, with somebody sitting at their desk and maybe revisiting the past and, these kinds of things. Whereas Danielle's short stories are very much like this happens and the next thing happens and the next thing happens, but yet you still feel like you're getting enough of context about the character and the past and everything that's happened up into this moment that you're just very invested. And
I like that. Please yell the name, Mark. What's the people that did Book of Mormon? Do you know the South Park guys? What are their names? I don't know their names off the top.
Matt Stone and Trey Parker.
Yeah, they talk about, one of my favorite things I've learned about story structures comes from them, where they say you have to have a but or therefore so that everything is connected to each other. And it kind of sounds like that's what you were talking about.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I feel like all of these.
The moment before has to happen for the other part to happen.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. And one of my favorite short stories from this collection was called Why Won't Women Just Say What They Want? And it's all about this this artist, like this genius artist who like has kind of left behind this wake of disappointed and battered women in different ways, and they're all given names like the long-suffering first wife and the not so long-suffering second wife, and they're not given actual names; they're just given titles. And then the artist starts this whole like gallery of apologies, and he does this whole like artistic stunt. And I'm not going to give away the ending, but it was just so clever and real and poignant. And
I'm excited to read this one. I think I want to read this one.
Yeah.
Megan, I'm gonna throw a loop for you. Ready?
Okay.
Throw you for a loop.
Okay.
Megan, eventually Danielle's going to hear you talk about her. So this is directly to Danielle. Nobody else exists. Nobody else is listening to this. Megan, what do you have to say to get her on the show?
Oh, I would just love to have a conversation with her about stories. I mean, she seems really cool to have a conversation with about like her process and what she thinks about stories. I read an interview with her, and I'll read you one thing that she said about stories. She said she loves the short story form because you, quote, get to see a writer thinking about the same question in different ways, but arriving at different answers. And I thought that was such a beautiful thing to say about a collection of short stories, because a lot of times collections of short stories will have a bunch of short stories that are of similar themes or similar subjects. And some people might say like, oh, it's just kind of like boring. It's the same story over and over again. But I love Danielle's spin on that to say, no, this is, to finish the thought, that this is like an artist or an author talking about the same question in different angles. And I just like that idea of like a short story collection being like a prism and you're just looking at it from different angles.
I like that.
Yeah. So hopefully Danielle will come on the show one day. I would love that.
I think so. I think Danielle's eventually going to hear this. Somebody knows her, and one of our listeners is going to be like, I'm going to help Jeremy and Megan out. I'm going to get her on your show. And then
absolutely. Yeah. If anybody knows Danielle Evans, put us in touch. Thank you.
Oh, we're cheating again.
Cheating. All right. So if you haven't already, please go to our YouTube page and like and subscribe, and you can watch us live every Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern. That's 8 Central and 9 p.m. Eastern.
Whoa. When we rehearsed this, Megan, you took my line.
I know. It just fell out of my mouth. I didn't even have to think about it. It just happened.
What do I say now?
Why don't you tell people about our social media?
Okay. We have Facebook, and we have Instagram, and then we also have Twitter, and we want you to use the hashtag NRSS podcast. Very
good, Jeremy. Very good. And we know that you guys are like jonesing for some Nobody Reads Short Stories merchandise. So if you go to our website, nobodyreadshortstories.com, you can find all of the leggings and socks and pillows and fanny packs and phone cases and basically anything that you could want in those colors. And Jeremy's reaching behind him to pet our
pillow. Like, you got to reverse your brain to be able to pet this pillow.
Very good. You're really working scapulas. Yeah. So if you want to learn more about Jeremy and I's individual work, you can go to my website, which is meganamorrison.com. And if you sign up for notifications, you will get an email anytime I have an update on one of my projects.
Same with me. I'll do the same. That is a promise. Also, I do micro stories every week. It's so much fun. Like every 8, we have a vote off. We just had our vote. Megan, did you do that one yet?
No, I haven't. Oh, am I too late? I haven't voted.
No, you need to vote. You got to vote.
Okay, I'll vote.
But anyway, it's so much fun. We get to figure out on these 100-word stories or less, like which ones were the favorites. They're all genres, and we'd love to have you be part of the newsletter. And we're forgetting something. Oh, the most important part, Megan.
What's that?
If you have friends and family, which we hope here that you do, make sure to let them know that we're here and that we're doing free short stories for your friends and family to listen to while they're on the go, doing dishes, walking their dog, walking their ferret. I don't know why I just said that.
I have some friends with some ferrets. You walk ferrets.
I used to have a ferret. She just popped up in my subconscious.
You did have a ferret.
You remember Maggie? Oh my goodness. We have to stop, Megan. What else are you supposed to say?
I think everybody needs to know that you wrote a screenplay called The Ferret in Frick Park. I think, right?
Well, maybe we'll have that. Okay, so here's my promise. If you watch Cranky Talk next week, instead of talking about a book, I will talk about that batshit crazy story that I wrote.
It's really good. Now, is that just a screenplay, or do you also write it as a short story?
Megan, we're supposed to save ourselves for Cranky Talk.
Sorry, guys. I'm like all invested in Jeremy's story. Okay. All right.
Oh my goodness. What if we had your hiking buddies and Ferret and Frick Park as two? What
if we did him as flash fiction?
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, challenge.
Well, let's try it. Yeah, just for funsies. Let's try to see if we can have like a sliver. But someday you'll have those out there on the YouTube land, because Megan and I will be crazy producers who produce great short stories. And I just want to talk to you all. That's why I'm talking so much. I'm so sorry.
I know we're babbling on, and I apologize. Don't really apologize.
I missed you all for a whole week. I've been waiting. I haven't done anything. I've just been sitting here on this point on the couch with these lights on, just waiting for you all to come back so that I could talk to you.
Yeah, that's why we have to go, so Jeremy can take a shower, because he's pretty smelly right now, because all he's been doing is just waiting for the camera to come back on.
You made me so sad today, Megan. You steal my words, and then you tell me I smell bad.
I know, I'm just walking all over you. I have no empathy.
All right, guys. Well, thank you.
All right, guys. So join us next week, because we have exciting news to tell you next week about our upcoming season 3. So don't miss it. No, we're going to say it next week.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
No one reads short stories anymore. I really don't know what they're written for. Go write a short story and throw it out the door. 'Cause no one reads short stories, funny, sad, or gory. No one reads short stories anymore. Yes, no one reads short stories